Yo, 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 welcome to the BK Lounge. It is Thursday, September 12th, 2019. 2 days before the Texas Longhorns take on the Rice Owls down at NRG Stadium in Houston. And I just realized that I forgot to update the little scroll bar that's going on the bottom of the screen right now. So it's going to tell you that we're talking about Texas LSU. But we're not going to spend too much time talking Texas LSU today. Matter of fact, it's not even worth it. I'm not even going to mess with it. We're going on. We'll do it live. It is Thursday night. We are on YouTube Live, so feel free to chat if you would be so kind. I can see your comments and questions on my screen to the right of me. So whatever's on your mind, whatever you have to say, feel free to let me know and chime in on this video. And also, if you want to leave any comments in the comment section below, please feel free to do so, and I will try to get back to them in a timely manner. Please like, share this video, and subscribe to this channel if you would. If you're a Texas Longhorn football fan, this is the place to be. This is the place to be. I'm going to do a couple of these videos every week. Try to do 2 or 3. That's what I've done so far for the start of this season. We're going to keep this bad boy rolling all season long, and we'll talk all things Texas Longhorn sports. So, apologies for my negligence on the bottom line, but I appreciate y'all tuning in. My man CB is already in. What's going on, CB? Good to see you. So, before we get to Texas and Rice, and I have to show y'all a couple of pictures of what Rice does on offense. It's unbelievable. Being in the Big 12 Conference, the stuff that Rice is going to do on Saturday night, a lot of teams in the Big 12 are doing nowadays, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to start off with some injury news, though, with Texas Longhorn football. We've got some good, some bad, and some worse with this football team, as Tom Herman was just addressing local media within the last hour or so. He gave us a couple of updates on what's going on with this football team. Once again, 2 days before the Longhorns take on Rice. Just shy of 48 hours from now down at NRG. So the good news on the injury front for the Longhorns, Daniel Young, the running back. He's been cleared to play for this weekend's game against Rice. He's missed both games so far, dealing with a high ankle sprain that he suffered late in fall camp. And, of course, if you're a Longhorn fan, you know this. Texas has been playing with just one scholarship running back through the first 2 weeks of the season, and that's Keontae Ingram. The Longhorns had to move Roschon Johnson over to running back, and Roschon Johnson's been really good. He's been very impressive. He's exceeded my expectations as a guy who was the third string and is the third string quarterback for this football team. He made the transition over. So Roschon Johnson Young is cleared to play, so he should be good to go on Saturday night. Now, how much he's going to be used, we'll wait and see. Texas is a 32-point favorite against Rice. So you don't think you need all hands on deck, and you hope this is a game where guys like Sam Ehlinger and Colin Johnson, your starters, out of the game and make sure everybody is healthy enough going into Big 12 play, which starts next Saturday against Oklahoma State here in Austin. So that's the good news. Daniel Young is back, so the Longhorns will have, we'll call Roschon Johnson a running back now. So Texas has 3 running backs that are good to go on Saturday with Keontae Ingram, with Roschon Johnson, and now with Danny Young. Once again, we'll wait and see. Tom Herman said he wouldn't hesitate to play Young if needed on Saturday. I hope he's not needed. I don't think he'll be needed. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm going to guess Danny Young is going to dress out, and he'll get at least a couple of touches on Saturday. He won't be the number 1 or 2 running back, though, for this football team, but it's good that Texas is getting reinforcements there. So that's the good news on the injury front for the Longhorns. We got a gnat flying around in here. Get out of here, man. The bad news, or just news on the injury front, is Colin Johnson, the aforementioned Colin Johnson. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Doesn't sound serious. He's a game-time decision. He's going to travel with the team, and it's one of those things where I think he could play. I think he'd be fine if he did play, and Colin Johnson apparently wants to play, according to Coach Tom Herman, but we'll see if he actually suits up and goes out there and plays on Saturday. Once again, a game against Rice. You want to have everybody healthy for Oklahoma State next weekend and the start of conference play. So, doesn't sound serious with Colin Johnson. Minor hamstring injury. Once again, it sounds like he can play, and he might play on Saturday, but if he does, you hope it's just a couple of series or maybe the first half of football. Hopefully Texas has this game in the bag so they can rest up their number 1 receiver. if Colin Johnson still is the number one receiver for this Texas football team. Devin Duvernay, the leading receiver right now through 2 games for the Longhorns. He has been incredibly impressive through 2 weeks. So that's the news for Texas on the injury front. The worst news involves DeMarvion Overshown, the safety / linebacker / joker / nickelback. This guy can play everything on this Texas defense. Kind of a jack-of-all-trades type of dude. He is out on Saturday against Rice, dealing with a back injury, more specifically a vertebrae injury, according to Tom Herman. And some rumors, some rumblings about this started coming out on the insider sites earlier this week. Reports started becoming stronger and stronger today, and Tom Herman, once again addressing the media about an hour ago, said that Overshown has this injury, will not play on Saturday, and it's being described as a week-to-week type of thing. So I think it's reasonable to assume that DeMarvion Overshown is going to miss multiple games, not just this game against Rice, but perhaps Oklahoma State. After that, the Longhorns have the bye, so we'll see how much longer this back vertebrae injury is for DeMarvion Overshown. But another big loss for this Texas secondary, who, going into the season, we all felt that the Longhorn secondary might be the deepest and strongest position group on this football team. And now, with lack of performance and a couple of injuries with Overshown and also B.J. Foster, who we found out on Monday is out for multiple weeks with a hamstring injury, now all of a sudden a group that was really deep before the year is a little bit thinner going into this game against Rice and then going into conference play. So, man, it sucks. Overshown's he's a beast, man. He's a fun player to watch. Didn't get a whole lot of snaps this past Saturday against Louisiana State. Maybe because he was dealing with this injury or suffered this injury early on. I'm not sure. But against La Tech, had an interception and a sack. I mean, whenever this guy's on the field, he's making plays. And unfortunately for him, he's just been unable to stay healthy in his year plus on the 40 acres. So that's a disappointing loss for Texas for sure. And once again, probably won't matter too much against Rice this Saturday, but if this thing lingers for a little bit, not having DeMarvion Overshown in that defensive backfield could be a big loss for this football team. They're already dealing with struggles in terms of performance. If you watch the game against LSU this past Saturday, the Texas secondary isn't blaring with talent right now. And you're losing some guys that you do have, guys who are expected to be contributing pieces to this team. So that's unfortunate news for Texas. So what the plan is going to be moving forward, we'll wait and see. Rice is a more traditional pro-style offense. They don't run what LSU runs. They don't run what 90% of the Big 12 conference runs. They like to ground and pound. They line up under center, even an I formation. We'll get to that in a second. But so I don't know how important the Longhorn secondary is going to be against Rice on Saturday, but I'm curious what the plan is moving forward. You saw Brandon Jones, the all-conference caliber safety, play some nickelback last week in place of B.J. Foster. Brandon Jones has been maybe the best cover player for this Texas football team in the secondary, and he's a safety. That is not a good thing. Brandon Jones, a hell of a player, but that is more of a shot, if you will, at the Texas cornerbacks than it is a praise of Brandon Jones. So maybe that change will be made. Maybe Brandon Jones will shift down to nickel, and Chris Brown, Texas, against Rice coming up. Hopefully this is a confidence-boosting game for them, for the entire feeling better about themselves after this Saturday, than they were last Saturday. So, unfortunate news on the injury front with DeMarvion Overshown. We'll see how Todd Orlando and Tom Herman address that. But, the secondary, once again, we thought going into the year, maybe the biggest strength on this entire football team, not just the defense, but now all of a sudden 2 weeks in, because of lack of performance and because of lack of bodies right now, starting to look like a little bit of a weakness. All right, I got to find a way to kill this gnat. It's killing me over here, man. All right, so let's transition. Let's talk a little bit of Rice, and I don't want to spend too much time on this video because it's Texas and Rice, and the Horns are 32-point favorites, and we all have an NFL game to watch tonight with the Bucs and the Panthers. Well, maybe we don't really care about this NFL game tonight. Not very exciting. But we all got stuff to do. I understand that. So let's jump quickly to Rice. And look, this is a game Texas should take care of business, no problem. But just a little bit, I watched Rice and Wake Forest a little bit earlier today. That was the Week 2 opponent for the Rice Owls. Rice is 0-2. Week 1, they went to Army and gave the Black Knights of the Hudson a little bit more than they wanted. 14-7 was the final score in that game. Army got the win, but man, Rice had the ball at the Army 33-yard line in the final minute and got stopped on downs. We all saw what Army did this past weekend up against Michigan, so Rice looked all right week one, especially defensively. Last week against Wake Forest at home, Rice lost 41-21 against the Demon Deacons. And Mike Bloomgren is the head coach for Rice. It's his second year. They went 2-11 last year. They went 1-11 in David Bailiff's final year. And Rice has completely changed their offense. Man, I mean, look at this. This is the first play that Rice ran last week against Wake Forest. Look at this formation. What is this? Being in Big 12 country, I almost don't even know what this is. I don't recognize this. Is that two tight ends? Is that a fullback? A fullback still exists, apparently. I don't know. Texas fans don't ever see that anymore these days. But the I formation for Rice on the first play last week against Wake Forest. And they'll run the majority of their plays under center. Now, they will go to the shotgun from time to time, but the majority of what Rice does on offense comes from under center. It is a very pro-style look. Mike Bloomgren was the offensive coordinator at Stanford, I think for 6 years before taking that Rice job. So if you're used to seeing what Stanford runs out of the Pac-12, it's a lot of the same concepts that Rice is going to run on Saturday. Not really something Texas is used to, but man, not something I'm used to either, watching Big 12 football over the last couple of years. So that's one play, and I would show you all the video of this deal, but I'm worried about copyright issues. I'm kind of still worried about copyright with that picture, but I think it's all right, and I don't really care too much. Here's another formation that Rice ran this past Saturday against Wake Forest. Look at this, man. They ran this look multiple times against Wake Forest, and it wasn't always short yardage situations. I think this was a 3rd and 1. So I guess this makes sense. But you've got, I mean, look at the way the tight ends are lined up. They're almost in like a bear crawl stance. All of the offensive linemen. I don't know if I've ever seen something like this. And you've got an extra, I think that's a defensive lineman in the backfield. Almost a wishbone-looking jumbo-type package for Rice that they ran multiple times last week. It's a damn rugby scrum in there. This is insane. So get ready for stuff like this Saturday night when Texas takes on Rice, and you see at the bottom the Texas LSU pregame score right there on CBS Sports Network. By the way, the game will be on CBS Sports Network this Saturday or on the Horn on the radio side if you are in Austin. So yeah, that's stuff you don't see every week. If you follow Texas Longhorn football, you're going to see some of that on Saturday night against Rice. Let's see, a couple of comments. Did my frat buy $7,500 worth of White Claw? I don't know. I'm out of the fraternity game these days, CB. I can ask. I don't have too many ties to the University of Texas college students anymore. I didn't even see that story. Did some fraternity buy $7,500 worth of White Claw? I thought there was a White Claw shortage going on. I didn't know that was. I didn't know they had $7,500 worth of White Claw left. But, man, those things have taken over, especially in Austin, which is not much of a surprise to anybody watching, I'm sure. We've got, Brian says, you got bananas in there or what? Yeah, damn gnats. It's just one gnat. I see him right now. He's not at a place where I can, there we go. He's done. Thank you for reminding me, Brian. The gnat is gone. It's about time. Had to take care of that. So, all right, back to Rice, and appreciate the comments. And once again, if you're not watching this live, feel free to comment in the comment section below and like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel if you would be so kind. Talking all things Texas football. So a little bit more on Rice. Once again, don't want to spend too much time previewing this game. But the starting quarterback for Rice is not going to play this weekend. That is Wiley Green. He suffered an injury in the first quarter last week against Wake. Did not return in that game. And the head coach, Mike Bloomgren, said, yeah, maybe he could play, but because it's a team like Texas, a game like Texas, you don't want to trot him back out there. So it's going to be a grad transfer, Tom Stewart, who played his undergrad bowl, if that's a thing. Played the start of his college career at Harvard, so he's going from smart school to smart school. He's a well-educated kid, Tom Stewart, actually from the Dallas area. He's going to get the start on Saturday against the Longhorns. And listening to some interviews and some press conferences with Mike Bloomgren, he praised a lot of Texas, praised the heck out of Sam Ehlinger, called him sporty. Not quite sure I know exactly what that means, but called him sporty, said he was really talented. He runs like a freaking running back is the exact verbiage Bloomgren used to talk about Sam Ehlinger. Also said he's got the ability to throw and make every throw on the football field. But Rice, they've got some inexperience. Let me pull this up. Only one starting senior on defense. They start 4 sophomores and a true freshman on the defensive side of the football. Nickel is usually their base defense, at least it was last week against Wake Forest, so I would expect to see some of that this weekend. But man, Wake Forest just dominated in the trenches, and that's usually what you see when you get a Power 5 school against a Group of 5 team, especially a Group of 5 team like Rice. The difference in the game is usually in the trenches, and Texas has better offensive and defensive line than Wake Forest does. So I expect that to be a huge matchup advantage for the Longhorns on Saturday night. And yeah, I think that's it, man. Just expect a lot of I formation. I know we haven't seen that a lot, and you might not see it again this season if you're a Texas Longhorn football fan. But Rice is old school smash mouth football. They're not very good. They won just 2 games last year, as I mentioned. They've got a couple of talented players on both sides of the ball. But look, Texas is favored by 32 points for a reason. Hopefully this can be a get-back-on-track game for the Longhorns, who need it after what happened this past Saturday against LSU. Hopefully there's no conversations about opposing bans or air conditioning this Saturday at NRG. I'm so tired of talking about that stuff here on the airwaves in Austin. Unbelievable what the LSU game has become. But yeah, Texas Rice Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Hear the pregame show starting at 3 on Saturday. And tomorrow, every weekday, midday with Trey and BK, 11 to 1 on the Horn in Austin, or hornfm.com if you are outside the listening area. So, once again, like and share this video if you would. Subscribe to this channel for more Texas football coverage all year long. I think Texas wins on Saturday. If anybody cares, I'll go 48-14. So I'll say the Longhorns cover the 32-point line against Rice on Saturday night. The last non-conference game before Oklahoma State. Coach Gundy, the Mullet Man, comes to town next Saturday. And RIP to T. Boone Pickens. Got the chance to interview him once on the show. Larger-than-life character, man. Good dude. Gone too... he's 91. I don't know if I could say gone too soon. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, hook 'em.